I am a wandering historian, and I have been sent by the Ministry of Oversight to uncover every single hidden secret this universe has to offer. On my journey, I'll face constant challenges, from battling dangerous monsters to asking life's most important questions. Where did my horsey go? To satisfy the ministry and reach 100%, I have to document the memories of every living soul in Orbis, master every workbench known to man, and cultivate every eternal seed. I'll need to defeat the guardians in all 4 zones, and unlock every recipe in the archives. All of it culminating in the greatest project of my career, the Grand Museum of Orbis. Welcome to 100% of Hytale. Subscribe to fund my expedition, and let's start the descent. The ministry dropped me off in the middle of nowhere, but my actual objective was miles away. After a brisk sprint across the wilderness, I arrived at the statue of the slumbering deity. I immediately compromised my professional ethics and I stole her bucket. I completely ignored the massive stone golem guards in the basement and I threw myself into the glowing portal. This landed me in the most important place that I would ever need to be, the Forgotten Temple. As I head down, I should note for the official record that this is a Vanilla Plus expedition. The ministry authorized a few quality of life mods, mostly to smooth over some of the early access quirks, as the world of Orbis is still very new and occasionally unstable. A full list is down in the description. Activating the heart of Orbis, I will unlock the in-game memory system. This is what the ministry and I will be using to track my progress through this world, and making sure that I witness every form of life. A bunny, memory logged, very cute. A stag, logged, very good. Once I've witnessed some life, I can talk to the heart of Orbis again and turn in the memory, and make it permanent. There's quite a lot to look at. 11 types of elementals, 5 mythic, 52 undead creatures, just to name a few. The ministry says I need to see a minimum of 200 life forms to get the final unlock, but it would be nice to see all 240 of them. Quite a few of them are buggy though, so I'm gonna have to wait and see on that. What else is here? A Rootland merchant, what do you sell? Oh, recipes, this one is for meat pie, very tasty. And by the looks of it, foods have got different tiers, so the better the food, the better the buffs. Good to know. Squirrel, that's adorable. Gonna hand that one in too, which gives me the first unlock of +3 decorative chests and +2 eternal seeds. Very nice. One final bit of housekeeping. I have applied for the Hytale Creator Program, but they are very busy. So if I get accepted, I will leave my creator code pinned in the comments below. It is a nice way to support the channel if you plan on visiting Orbis yourself. Okay, let's see if the big stone man is still angry at me. He is very angry, but I still want to try and loot some of these chests. He is very slow, so it's not really that much of a challenge. This one is gold, so it must be a good one. Let me get out of here before he ruins my day. A pickaxe, some ore, and some food. I really couldn't ask for more. So the world is my oyster. I could go anywhere and do anything. I'm gonna steal this wheat. But what a gorgeous meadow this is. A real breath of fresh air. The first Orbis life forms, a cow and a calf. Adorable. This is going to be such a fun adventure. I guess it's that time where I get to punch a tree. Oh wow, the whole tree came crumbling down. I love that. Punching is slow. This hatchet was going to save my poor fingers. Oh yes, that is so much better. I did some experimenting earlier, and this game has got a solid third-person experience. So wherever possible, I will try and use it. So I harassed some bushes, saw some sheep, cleaned up some rubble, stole a horse, and made my way to an abandoned farmhouse I would eventually call home. With my initial mission complete, it was time to meet the neighbors. Let's check out who lives here and see if they are friendly. Oh, it's the Quebecs, just like at the temple. 89-day restock timer. You need a better delivery person, my friend. Now, are you gonna yell at me if I borrow some items from your chest? Or if I was to borrow a bed? The coast seems to be clear, so I stole a lettuce and I went on my way. Ooh, a blood rose. Where did my horsey go? That's not good. Not good indeed. Spawning and entity culling is a pretty broken thing in early access. Many animals will be lost to the unavoidable void. R.I.P. horsey. Good thing there's another horse nearby, so I get to travel in style once again. Back at home, it was time to get set up ready to conquer the world of Orbis. It starts with a workbench, and it's all menus from here. One mod I did add for content was the brighter torches one, because YouTube compression hates the dark. You're all gonna thank me later for this one. Oh, and it looks like it goes in the offhand. That is great. I'll make a furnace, a farmer's workbench, and a builder's workbench. For now, I am envisioning a lawn base. I do have a house, but it needs a bit of a tidy before it's livable. I mean, it doesn't even have a roof yet. Since nearly everything in this world so far wants to kill me, I think a bow and arrow is a great idea. Here's what happened when I saw a bear. Ah, a bear! It was a harrowing experience. Smelting down that ore I got from the golem chest, the iron I'll use to craft a magnet from the magnet mod. No longer shall this historian need to bend down and pick up items. Instead, they will bow to my pure magnetism. So it looks like in order to craft seeds, I need life essence, and I can get that essence from growing crops. I like that. To unlock the eternal versions, I'll need to upgrade this workbench. It uses crops from the current level and what looks to be some random wood. This is probably going to be one of the easier tasks to knock over. Oh, how naive that young historian was. You'll have to wait and see what he uncovers that'll change his worldview forever. It feels wrong, but it's getting dark, so I am going to use that stolen bed to try and sleep through the night. Day 2 started off with a simple goal. Gear up. It starts with a new pickaxe, but it ends with a crippling realization. I'm gonna need a lot more ingots. I think it is time for a mining montage. On the way, I saw something glistening in the river just outside the house. It turns out gold ore can spawn in lakes and rivers. I feel like it shouldn't, but I'm not one to pass upon an opportunity like this. I have found a hole. I'll see you on the other side.
Couldn't give it up. And all the time you said you wanted me, when you know we don't get along like we used to. Went along with everything you said and done for me. You'll never love me now.
That was a big success, and I must say, movement in this game feels really good and fluid. Jumping and climbing up to 4 blocks high, it's incredibly cool. 58 copper ore and 41 iron. I'd have stayed longer, but the pickaxe broke, forcing me out of the hole I'd found myself in. I built a tanning rack. I have no immediate use for it, but considering the local wildlife treats me like a chew toy, I figured I'd return the favor eventually. Since the world can be scary, it's probably worth making the armorer's workbench and anvil, so I can better prepare for that with more armor and weapons, like this copper hat. Gotta protect these luscious locks after all. And some gauntlets so I can point at things in style. Oh, repair kits. I can make these to fix my gear, but the catch is that it degrades the tool every time. It feels like a scam, but I have no choice. I'll need a chef's stove, which is how I'll unlock some real fine dining. I can achieve culinary perfection by putting some vegetables on a pointy stick. Perfect. Looking good in a full set of copper. I am now ready to take over the world. I've been looking through some menus, and it looks like in order to make a better pickaxe, I'm gonna need to upgrade the workbench. So that means another trip down into the mines. I've doubled up on pickaxes, and it is back into the depths of Orbis I go. Oh my, I am a little scared of you. I think I'll go a different way. What's up here? Oh my goodness, I'm not alone. I repeat, I am not alone. Bro is blowing things up, please stop. Block, charge, this is not going well. Please let me heal, bro. Well, that was exciting. Back to mining again. I see loot, I'm coming up. Hi, buddy. I think I'm getting the hang of this. It's kind of fun. The loot really isn't that great. This one is a high roll, and to be fair, it is a little bit better. Doesn't entirely feel worth seeking these out though as it stands. Now, as cute as these rats are, they drop like highs and I just need an unfathomable amount of them. Oh my god, it looks like he's mining rocks. That is genius! I don't think I like that the guys are floating. I'm out of here. I escaped with 112 iron and 97 copper. A mighty successful journey. The mace is pretty cool. A little sluggish though, I'm probably going to stick to the sword. Right, I want to check out this farming system and see about upgrading the workstation. All that's standing in my way is a hoe, some lettuce seeds and a watering can. Diggy dig dig, apply some water and plant. In the real world, my fingers are not so green. Let's hope I can keep these ones alive long enough for a harvest. While they grow, I have got enough to upgrade the initial workbench to level 2, thus unlocking cobalt and thorium tools. All I'm missing is the ingots, which I haven't seen anywhere yet, so adventure may be afoot. I can now though upgrade to iron, which totes more durability and faster mining speeds over the copper that I have spent so long with. The lettuce is ready, and luckily they all survived. Maybe I am a pro farmer after all. That's the tier 2 farmer's workbench, and it appears that I now need carrots and corn. That's then planted, but I'm also going to need greater life essence. Oh, I think I see how this is going to scale. I have a lot of farming to do in my future. I made a fishing trap, but I can't work out how to place it down in the water. I can only place it above water. But I don't think this is going to catch many fish. I'm going to bait it anyway, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I take it back. I absolutely did catch some fish. I apologize profusely. A big thorn in my side lately has been looking through chests for items. To remedy that, I can craft up this magical lectern that'll wirelessly scan my hordes of junk. It is going to save me so much time opening and closing chests. Yay, another successful harvest. I don't actually know if crops can fail, but I'm gonna pretend that they can so I feel like an expert. Farming station level 3. You may wonder why I'm focusing on this workstation so much. It's because this thing goes all the way to level 10, and I assume it's gonna get progressively more expensive. It's also the only way to get enough essence to trade with the merchants. Turnips and cauliflower? I'll get those planted, and then I think it's time to fix something I should have fixed a long time ago. I need a roof on my house. It's been days, and while sleeping under the stars has its charms, it also rains quite a lot here. Well, it's not pretty yet, but it is a lot better. Farming is going really well, but it looks like some of the veg stopped growing because the soil dried up. I guess that is something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. It's fine though, because that is the tier 4 workstation. You know the drill, plant pumpkins and eggplants, water, and let them slowly grow. But I have had enough of farming for now. I am yearning for adventure. There are just so many things to see, like these ravens. And a snake. I can go to the tops of the mountains and find some loose silver ore and storm petals. Or I can meet some more neighbors called trolls who definitely don't seem to like me. I can head to an autumnal forest and harvest some maple trees. I love the colors of this biome. It's very cozy. And I can hand in another 45 memories, granting me more eternal seeds and an extra teleporter. Whatever that means. You know what, Mr. Stoneman? It is time we had a fight. The victory is mine. Na 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 horse boat. Do you see it? In the forest, the size of a tree. This fella is huge. High off of the success of my golem victory, I decided to try and take him out. I got lucky. He got stuck on a tree branch, unable to come and destroy me, which I'm pretty sure he would have. But because he's so tall, the victory is mine. I believe I have now beaten every boss within the Emerald Grove. The ministry will be pleased. I was flying through the farmer upgrades, and honestly, it was smooth sailing, right up until it asked for cedar logs. I was horribly under-equipped for the Tundra. The plan was simple: grab the wood, don't look at the locals, and leave. But then I saw cobalt. Should I risk my life and my horse for some shiny blue rocks? Absolutely not. Did I do it anyway? Well, obviously. Oh my god, what? I'm in a hole. Below me is almost certain death. Getting out wasn't pretty. It involved a lot of frantic clicking, mild crying, and begging my horse to understand basic geometry. I made it out and I did not look back. I just bolted for home. Along the way, I aggressively robbed a random cabin and I stumbled onto my new best friend, the Outlander Sword. This thing is a monster and it basically carried me through the rest of the week. A few minutes later, I was back in my safe, boring base. Cedar logs at the ready, tending to my garden. After the Tundra disaster, I just wanted a quiet moment to farm. Instead, the game handed me a miracle, an eternal pumpkin seed. For this 100% run, I need to collect every single one of these glowing anomalies. It is going to be a grueling test of my RNG luck to get them all. In other news, that is the tier 6 farming station. Dry wood logs. Nothing is ever enough. Living in a tiny farmhouse was getting a bit old. I decided to do some light landscaping, clear a few blocks, and build a nice quiet farm. Unfortunately, Hytale shovels operate on pure unpredictable chaos. You never know which blocks it's going to break. Things got entirely out of hand, but on the bright side, I now have a large fully fenced in estate. So, that dry wood. After the Tundra incident, I promised myself there would be no more detours. Get in, get the dry logs, get out. Keep my horsey safe. The desert was an absolute goldmine for the memory collection. I was grabbing logs, a little thorium, and documenting every weird creature I saw. It was peaceful, too peaceful. And then, a local bird decided to aggressively poison my horse. The mission immediately changed from gather wood to escape this avian menace so my horse might survive. Losing line of sight, I could breathe. Horsey survived, and together we bonded over another near-death experience. 2 minutes later, I found out that you can ride the rams here. I'm not saying I was considering trading him in for a goat, but I might have googled to see how fast they are. Ultimately, guilt won out. We limped home, fed the benches dry logs, and looked at the next requirement. Sallow logs. Yeah, absolutely not. This bench can wait. My horse needs therapy. Another 35 memories to add. This is going so well. Since the horse was on strike, I decided to pivot over to livestock. I spent 3 grueling hours chasing chickens, wrestling cows, and building some pristine enclosures. It was a cinematic masterpiece. Unfortunately, my recording software decided to just delete it. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Boom! A farm. So why did I kidnap all of these animals? Sure, the eggs and the milk are nice, but to reach the max level of farming, I need fertiliser. Copious amounts of fertiliser. It's not a petting zoo, it is a highly efficient poop factory. Watering crops every day was killing my soul, so I made some sprinklers to do it for me. Remember how I mentioned that collecting all the eternal seeds was going to be a grueling, agonizing test? Yeah, it turns out you can just craft them, so that's good. So after the carrots and corn, the rest of the seeds are locked behind the memories log and the workstation upgrades. Fantastic. I'm still gonna build an epic hyper-efficient farm though. Copper armour was no longer cutting it. I desperately needed an iron upgrade, but I was completely bottlenecked by the linen scraps. Hytale at night is not a joke. At first, it was just these creepy half zombies, and I thought, yeah, okay, I can handle this. Then, the void spawn showed up. Oh my goodness. It turns out I absolutely could not handle this. I executed a highly tactical retreat back to my farm, and that is when I discovered the most overpowered defensive structure in the entire game, a fence. It turns out Ancient void demons cannot comprehend basic carpentry. I spent the rest of the night cheesing the deadliest monsters in the realm from the absolute safety of my garden. Remember that terrifying Tundra trip that almost cost me my horse? It finally paid off. Behold, the cobalt pickaxe. With my new pickaxe, I still had a linen scrap problem. Word on the street was that the local Trorks were raiding the Quebec village. Now, I do not inherently care about woodland politics, but the Quebecs do have the recipes I need. So I grabbed my sword and I went to play the hero. The Trorks were a bust. They were completely broke. But then I looked across the valley and I saw it. A skeleton outpost dangling off a cliff. I figured anyone living in a nightmare castle had to have some spare scraps. I returned home, pockets full of linen, ready to relax. Instead, I found goblins and rats spawning directly inside my base. I was annoyed about the goblins, but I was quite happy about the rats because of course, they drop the hides. I finally have enough raw material to craft my very first batch of fertiliser, the ultimate farming upgrade. I placed it down, ready to watch my empire grow. 5 blocks. It works on exactly 5 blocks. I am going to need so much poop. There has to be a better way. Between the poison horse, the void spawns, and the sheer amount of walking I was doing to collect literally everything, my daily commute was kinda destroying me. I needed a way out. I needed magic. Enter the Arcanist Workbench. This glowing table promised me the ultimate video game luxury: teleporters. Fast travel was finally within my reach. To build the teleporter, I needed azure kelp. Now where do you find bright blue magical kelp? In the bright blue magical forest, of course. Sometimes I really appreciate it when a game just hands you the answer. I rushed back, crafted the pads, and I slammed the first one down in the middle of the farm. My days of walking across the entire continent were finally over. I was now a master of space and time. Once I go and place some more of them, of course. If I hand in a few more memories, I get closer to unlocking the ability to place down even more teleporters, which will be nice. With fast travel unlocked, I was ready to conquer the map. But I couldn't fight endgame bosses on an empty stomach. I needed an ultimate survival food, the meat pie. It sounded simple enough. It was not simple. To bake just a single pie, I essentially had to establish a medieval society. I was trapping fish with my floating trap just to harvest the salt. I was hoarding buckets of water like a doomsday prepper. I had to convert my entire estate into a commercial wheat farm just to get enough flour. And the icing on the cake? After all of that manual labor, I had to run around the forest picking delicate little flowers just to make the spices. After an hour of back-breaking, soul-crushing labor, I combined my life's work at the oven and the game rewarded me with exactly 9 pies. I am going to have to guard these with my life until I can get more flowers. Armed with my meat pies and the power of instant travel, I got completely overconfident. I headed to the far east of the map, straight into Zone 4, a literal hellscape of fire and lava that I had absolutely no business being in, just to find a golden wood tree. But then, I spotted a skeleton horse. All of that guilt I felt in the desert, completely gone. I abandoned my loyal flesh and blood companion in a bit of a volcano without a single second thought. I chopped the golden wood, distracted myself with a few deadly animals for the memory log, slammed down my escape hatch, and teleported home before I got too greedy. I fed that golden wood into the workbench and checked the next requirement. Hundreds of magical petals. Remember when I was in the desert and I was hoarding those glowing flowers like a distracted toddler? It turns out, I am a genius. My greed goblin brain was prepping me for this exact moment. But I was now starting to feel guilty about abandoning my horse, so to prove my unwavering loyalty to this horsey, I was going to build him a stables and hone in my Hytale building skills a little bit. So that's what I did. Behold, a stables fit for a historian's horse, a luxurious 5-star accommodation. That guild has fueled my most cottagecore build I think I have ever done in my career. It was perfect. And then, tragedy struck. Update 3 launched. The developers looked at my beautiful new stable, looked at my happiness, and pressed delete. They have added basic taming, but they may have forgotten to include skeleton horses. I was stranded. My horse was stuck. The only consolation prize is I was given this new sickle. So I spent a few minutes taking out my frustration by harvesting some carrots. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But looking at what's basically now an empty stable was depressing. And my legs were getting tired. I think I need a rebound mount. I refused to walk that Petal quest like a peasant. It was time to go horse shopping. Hey cuties, would anyone like a carrot? You do! Let's go home, my noble steed. I have a brand new home that I built especially for you. In you go, don't mind the other guy, he's basically a decoration now. Oh, it really is glorious. Now, as much as I love my animals, they really do not poop enough. I need 10 poops for every 5 farmland, and I've got quite a lot of farmland. So I've come up with a brilliant idea. First, this is a bridge. It's not important. I have concluded that if I really want faster fertiliser, I am going to need a lot more fish traps. They have a rare chance to catch some coral, and coral, well, that's going to be crafted into an even better fertiliser for some reason I don't know. Happy days! Of course, I'm still going to take care of the animals. I'll even feed them some lettuce to tame them so they stop trying to escape. I want them to feel safe here. They're home away from home where nothing bad can happen. Oh, I can pet them, that is adorable. I'm so happy. With my fertiliser problem hopefully sorted, it was time I turned my attention to something that I've kind of been putting off. Blood petals, storm petals, azure petals. That way I can knock out another tier of the farmer's workbench and be one step closer to my 100% goal. So why don't I queue up a montage and dig into some petal farming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 99, 100. 6 hours. It took me 6 hours to find the storm petals. I am going to be writing a strongly worded letter to the ministry all about this. Incredible. I don't even want to talk about the azure petals, just please. I got them, it's done. Please just let me upgrade the workbench. I click the button, the bench whirred to life. A wave of pure euphoria washed over me. I was officially free from that petal grind. And then I made the terrible mistake of looking at the final upgrade. 200 of each. The game looked at my suffering and asked for double. But where can I get them? I have explored the entire island just to find 100 of each. But wait, it gets infinitely worse. I looked at the rewards for reaching tier 10. Do you want to know what you unlock when you max it out? The ability to grow your own petals. To unlock the ability to farm them, you first have to manually handpick hundreds of them in the wild. The game gives you a solution to the petal problem as a reward for no longer having a petal problem. Whoever designed this is certifiably villainous. The farmer's workbench broke something inside of me. Agriculture was dead to me. I was done planting seeds, and I was definitely done picking flowers. I needed to hit something that couldn't grow back. It was time to prepare for war. I returned from the mountains feeling like a god, pockets full of ores, ready to work towards forging the ultimate armor sets. I was just quickly checking on the animals before starting, and that is when I noticed something different. There are millions of blocks in this world, yet the game looked at all of that space and it decided that the absolute best place to spawn a wild bear was directly inside of my animal pen. All of my animals are gone. I'm not even going to fight the bear. I'm just gonna accept the universe's message to stop trying to be a farmer and just gonna go build some weapons. I'll start by upgrading the anvil, meaning I can now forge up to a cobalt sword, following that up with an upgrade to the armorer's one, a cobalt helmet, and the rest for now will need to be thorium, due to a Shadoweave scrap shortage. I'll have to find the source of them soon if I want any chance of surviving against some of those high level bosses. Outside, I have installed a mod for armor stands, which I think will be an awesome way to display every armor set when it comes time to build the Grand Museum. Ooh-wee, looking mighty sharp if I do say so myself. So it looks like I am going to need ice essence, Shadoweave scraps, and I believe some fire essence as well. Before I go, I am going to max level the furnace, and that's a shame it doesn't add a second fuel slot. Too bad. And I'm also going to max out the tanning rack. That puts me at 2 out of 6 workbenches done for 100%. Nice. Right then, I'm going to go and consult the neighbours on where I can find myself some of those essences and scraps that I need. Oh, I just want to mention that during the mining trip that I found out they fixed a lot of the memories with update 3, so I was able to hand in a bunch more to breach the 100 memories milestone. Okay, thanks, back to the story. The Quebecs look like harmless saplings, but they operate a bit like a cartel. I went to them for information, and they handed me a 2-target hit list. Target 1 was a frozen stronghold in the north. Target 2 was a castle of fiery doom in the south. I had a lot of work to do. Also, I managed to buy the recipe for the apple pie while I was there, which will be a nice treat for when I finally get home. I think I'll try going north first. Okay, so I might have taken the head north thing a little bit too literally, but I'm sure I can find it around here somewhere. After much searching, I have found the encampment. I have my sword, I have my bow, and an emergency exit portal. Sneaky, sneaky stealth mode. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. Knock knock, it's Hobble time. How do they have such insane accuracy? I am getting cooked here. Things are not going well for me. I need every advantage. I think the coast is clear. It's time to activate Loot Goblin mode. Is something lurking in the ceiling? Not anymore. Oh my goodness, the room exploded. Ice essence, nice. Target 1 is cleared. Good job, Hobble. Definitely went exactly as planned. Ah, they've called for reinforcements. Tactical retreat. I can use those scraps to upgrade to full thorium armor, and it is time to head south to the castles of Fiery Doom. Target 2. The fortress. I was in full cobalt armor. I was ready to kick the doors down and take on an entire army. Well, where is everybody? The fortress was completely empty. Nobody was home. The Syndicate's intel was absolute nonsense. I got dressed up in heavy metal armor to raid an abandoned building. But I was not about to go home empty-handed. If the army wasn't in the castle, I was just gonna have to fight the entire zone. I spent about 40 minutes aggressively mugging every single creature that had the misfortune of making eye contact. There I stood at the edge of the world, covered in ash and soot, and had a terrifying realization. This world was actually infinite, which meant, theoretically, my search for those cursed petals could go on forever. I needed a loophole. I needed a way out. I returned home and immediately funneled all of my loot into the war room, starting with an anvil and armorer's workbench max level, ending with maxing out the crafting workbench. I was now officially wearing full adamantite armour, and I was a walking tank. Only one bench remained undefeated, the farmer's one. While I was exploring though, I did find the alchemist's workbench, which I completely forgot to craft. But with my stash of materials, it took no time at all to max this level out. I was ready to start brewing some god tier potions. Do you want to know what high level magic requires? Flowers and petals. The universe was taunting me. I refused to go back out and pick wildflowers. I looked closer at the recipes, and I found out that there are different variants of flowers that give petals. Blood mushrooms instead of roses, for example. I farmed a few of them, and I can now craft those to grow into petals. It's incredible. It also explains what some of those other hidden recipes might be, so the game wasn't forcing me to explore anymore. It was forcing me to go back to my roots. I had to rebuild the farm. I had to replace all of the animals that the bear ate. The poop factory needs to be back in business. The farm will finally be finished. First though, there is one more big milestone to reach. With the tier 3 workbench, I can finally upgrade to Adamantite tools and complete the armor's tools and weapons segment of this playthrough, since Mithril is currently unobtainable. Well, I didn't think I would be back here, but I am going to need my farm crates again because I need to repopulate my farm. So horsey, let's go and find some animals. The factory is back in business. Not only that, I've been diligently harvesting fish traps for coral, but it's a very rare drop. It fertilizes 20 farmland, so very much worth the trouble. Very worth it. Crafting up some flower seeds, I was not taking any chances. No more manual labor. No more roaming the wilderness. I crafted hoppers and I strapped them to my sprinklers, and I planted my 50 of each magical seed with absolute mechanical efficiency. And then, I sat down and I stood guard. After the bear incident, I didn't trust the wildlife. I didn't trust the game, and I certainly didn't trust these flowers. I watched them grow out of pure spite. The harvest was successful, but the game had one last joke to play. The petal to seed ratio was a strict 1-to-1 trade. I was around 100 petals short for each. But honestly, smashing crystals is infinitely better than picking flowers. It's just so easy. Thousands of blocks travelled, dozens of animals lost, an embarrassing amount of time praying for poop. The nightmare was finally over. The farmer's workbench and all workbenches were all maxed out. There's just the odd recipe or two to go to find out in the world. The farm was done. The base was perfect. Every single workbench had unlocked its full potential. For the first time in weeks, I had absolutely no chores to do. I was a humble historian with too much free time. I checked my 100% completion list. I'd conquered agriculture and blacksmithing, but my magic skills were severely lacking. These legendary elemental staves require ruby and sapphire. And in this game, precious gems are exclusively located in the absolute worst places imaginable. Which brings me here, standing at the mouth of a large volcano. Water bucket in hand, I gently lowered myself down, being careful not to turn this into an active volcano. A leap of faith? Lovely. I secured the gems. Whoa, there were dinosaurs down here? And I crafted the ancient staves of ultimate power. I took aim at a bear, unleashed my magical fury, and I was not expecting that. And the ice one? Wow, basically just an annoyance device that does no damage. Well, the fire staff is cool, but it is far too expensive to use, costing a bunch of fire essence per second. There's one more thing that I can try. From that skeleton praetorian, I got this grimoire which will let me raise the dead. Rise, my minion! Okay, so one minion, not so strong. Let's add some more. Follow me, minions! Well, I'm sad to say, necromancy might be dead. Fun, but the minions really aren't that strong. Maybe one day I can grow up to be a master necromancer, but today is not that day. It finally happened. The Quebecs were selling the final recipe I needed from them, pumpkin pie. While there, they gave me one final job, a global hit list of all the world's zone bosses. If I conquered them, I would be an ally in their eyes, and that would mean the world to me. There was only one thing for it. It's fighting time! With all of the world's mini-bosses destroyed, I needed to turn my attention to the volcano where I saw the dinosaurs. I'm in, and I found a forest down here. Not at all what I was expecting. An aggressive plant? Intriguing? Did you hear something? I guess it was nothing. Whoa, cave raptors. You are no match for the Adamantite sword. Next time bring some friends. Ah, he brought some friends. I think one of them is circling me in the hopes of disorienting me. It won't work. I am big strong historian. Wow, look at that view. It's gorgeous. Sometimes it is nice to breathe for a minute between the chaos and just appreciate where you are. The Cave Rex, the apex predator of this volcanic jungle. History has been made on this day. It's time I took my memory collection to the altar for the final hand-in. I hit 201 out of 241 memories. The rewards stop at 200 for a good reason. I spent hours searching, and I am entirely convinced that the last 40 creatures just don't exist yet. As far as I am concerned, the Orbis life forms have been 100% documented. Back on the farm, I can craft up the final 2 eternal seeds, onion and potato. That is now every single eternal seed completed, which by the way just means that these seeds auto-replant themselves after harvest. While browsing the unlocks, the game decided to throw me one final farming curveball. This harvest trophy, 100 greater essence, and 100 of every farmable item. 100 fish? Ooh, that's a tougher one. Just when I thought my farming days were over, the game drags me back through the dirt one more time. That's okay though. I can take these off while I work on the next big project. It is going to be the biggest building project I have taken on to date. And I'm kind of a little bit nervous about it because I don't have as many blocks as I usually do in the other block game. It all starts with the swing of the axe, the swing of the pickaxe, and the swing of a shovel that I definitely probably know how to use. Okay, maybe no shovel, the pickaxe is actually much faster. Cue the montage. The Grand Museum of Orbis. Armour sets lining the hallway. The armour stand mod really brings the world to life. It doesn't really look that full, but that's because there's only a handful of items that I can show to document this world. In the centre, all 14 eternal seeds. Here, using the item display mod, I am sharing my biggest pain point. The flowers for the workbench upgrades. On this side I am showing off some of the farming items like wool scraps. I have got so many wool scraps because of poop. A museum isn't complete without a goblin duke throne. Over on this side it's a little bit more farming stuff. One of every essence and one of every mob drop. Overall, I am happy with how this turned out given my limited understanding of building here. There's room for improvement. But maybe I'll revisit this world again once a lot more updates have happened for a part 2. Let me know if you want to see me come back here. Outside I have replanted the forest that I destroyed when I moved in. Turns out, hundreds of trees growing at the same time is a little bit laggy. Weird, right? Oh, potatoes! After doing the math, potatoes seem to be my golden ticket to unlimited life essence. I'm still missing a bunch of poop, and 97 out of 100 apples. I planted these apple trees days ago, but I don't think I've been close enough to let them grow. So now it is a bit of a waiting game here. Okay, so I'm now supposed to go and farm red, yellow and blue petal mushrooms to unlock the last 4 recipes, but first I want to have some fun. If I drink this potion, I become a pigeon. I am adorable. Fly! Oh, I cannot fly. Mystery potion number 2. Oh my goodness, I am so cute. I'm a doggy. Woof woof. Look out, this pup is dangerous. Mystery potion 3. Ribbit. Finally, potion number 4, and I am the most overpowered mouse to ever live. Full adamantite armour and weapons. Mighty Mouse indeed. Well, that was a whole lot of fun, but alas, I cannot avoid it any longer. I've got to grab my horse for one final adventure to find the recipes for the last few mushrooms. I have absolutely no idea where I'm going, so I think there's going to be mushroom for error. I'm not even sorry for that one. Okay, I swear I hit record, but apparently not. I am a tool. Let me catch you up. After a little flower farming, I've now unlocked every single recipe and its variants. Even the chef's recipes are unlocked. The workbench, completely unlocked. I did craft the tier 2 backpack upgrade, but the tier 3 is currently unobtainable in game. What I'm gutted about not catching though is the crafting of the harvest trophy, but alas, it was not in my cards. I mean, I even made a joke about imagine I'm not recording now, and I wasn't recording! I walked into the Grand Museum of Orbis, and I placed the trophy somewhere it could be seen by every visitor. Wow, it has an animation! Okay, it was worth it a little bit. Now, as I look around this museum, there is only one thing missing from my 100% checklist. The mainland was completely conquered. I am a walking indestructible tank with a pretty big sword. There was only one frontier left. I gathered up some materials and I crafted the ancient gateway. Then a fragment of Orbis, dragon spire wheeled flavored. My goal for this fragment is simple. Climb the tallest mountains in search of a frost dragon. It is the last obtainable memory I can get. I spawned right next to a large mountain. This couldn't have gone any better. Well, I mean, it would have gone better if I'd remembered to actually bring some blocks with me. Oh well, I'm at the top, and I'm assuming that the blue area here may be the home of the slumbering dragon. It is! One day this fella will wake up and be an epic boss fight. But the devs haven't actually added his alarm clock yet. I don't really need anything else from this gateway, so I'm just going to take a minute to enjoy the calmness of this mountaintop view. If you've made it this far, consider officially subscribing to the channel. The ministry loves to see high engagement metrics, and it might just get me a promotion. So the ministry dictates that my next mandatory vacation destination is the Dread Wade. The objective they gave me was simple: survive until the portal closes. While waiting for my supposedly inevitable doom, I decided to take a casual stroll. I even found a volcano with a toad living inside it, but the void was finally closing in, forcing me back to ground level to face the horde. The terrifying void creatures arrived, except they were the exact same void creatures from the mainland. I spent my first few nights in Orbis hiding from these things behind a garden fence. Now, I was standing there in full Adamantite armour, and honestly, I was just disappointed. I am sure that more spectacular things are coming in early access, but today was not that day. I essentially stood in a puddle, swatted them away like mildly annoying flies, and I watched the timer hit 0. I survived. With our paperwork filed, there was only one fragment left on the checklist: Windrider Valley. My grand final objective was to locate a mage tower and conquer it. At first, I found nothing but sand, but finally in the distance, I spotted it. I approached the tower, brushing past a couple of skeletons that barely registered as a threat. I peeked inside some of the chests along the way, but the loot was entirely mid-game. For a struggling new adventurer, it is a treasure trove. For me, not so much. My casual ascent was briefly interrupted by some aggressive magic men who actually managed to do a bit of damage, but then I remembered I owned a bow and dealt with that problem. But I realized I was running out of time. After some brief parkour, I reached the top floor just in the nick of time. I arrived in Orbis with a simple goal: 100% completion. What actually happened was a complete descent into madness. I defeated monsters and I conquered ancient gateways. I handled inhumane quantities of poop. And I did it all while the universe actively conspired against me. From the developers patching out my lovely skeleton horse, to the game spawning a bear inside of my animal pen. But I survived. The museum is finished, every armour forged, every memory logged, and every boss defeated. Hytale in its current state is now 100% completed, and I have had an absolute blast playing. It is such a cool game. But the centerpiece of the museum isn't any of the drops, and it's not even the Eternal Seeds. It's this silly piece of wood right here, the tier 10 farmer's workbench. I have battled literal demons, but this workbench really was my true nemesis. The grind is over for now. I can officially retire from Orbis and go debrief the ministry on what I have found here. Thank you for joining me on my journey. There is just one final thing I wish to do before I go. Okay buddy, let's get you home. I have got so much to tell you. Did you know that there are dinosaurs in volcanoes? You've got to see it sometime. Also, I turned into a pigeon for a little bit, and I thought... So, after a month of gameplay, thousands of blocks mined and travelled, and a grind like no other, the biggest question is, was Hytale actually worth completing? Yes. The memories did take up a massive amount of my time, but I was mostly able to zone out and watch movies while I explored. Honestly, making a spreadsheet for it was the only thing that kept me sane. Let's talk about the highs and lows. The combat in this game feels really fun. Once you hit Adamantite, you basically plow through everything, and it genuinely makes you feel quite powerful. The movement, as I mentioned earlier, is incredibly fluid. Your character actually goes where you want them to go, making it a lot of fun to just roam around. The power of being able to step up a block without needing to jump is pretty awesome. That being said, the developers desperately need to revisit the farmer's workbench and go back and balance those upgrade costs. They need to come up with a completely new resource for tier 10, which hopefully will be fixed when they introduce the new zones. Also, the furnace really needs a second fuel slot when you upgrade it. Fuel burns out way too quickly, making the upgrade kinda feel a bit pointless. So, what is my final verdict? Is this game better than Minecraft? Is it worth buying yet? The answer is simple. In my opinion, modded Hytale is better than vanilla Minecraft, but modded Minecraft is still supreme. At the end of the day, the games aren't really that comparable other than them both being block games. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the developers come up with next. So if you have it in your budget, I do recommend buying the base game, even if it is just to learn the game in anticipation for future updates, game modes, and mod packs. Let's head into a few outtakes. Remember to like, subscribe, hype, and comment. You know the drill by now, and I'll see you all in the next video. I can achieve culinary perfection. They drop light hides, and I just need an unfathomable amount of light hides. Now, as cute as these rats are, they drop light hides, and I just need an unfathomable amount of light hides. They drop light hides, and I just need an unfathomable. They drop light hides, and I just need an unfathomable. They drop light hides, and I just need. Oh my goodness. They drop light hides, and I just need an unfathomable. Goodness me. Unfathomable. Unfathomable. I apologize profusely. High off of the success, he got stuck on a tree branch, unable to come and destroy me. I spent the rest of the night cheesing the deadliest monsters in the realm for the words are hard. Word on the street was that the local chalks were I abandoned my loyal flesh and blood. I've got so many wool scraps because of poop. So I'll take a moment just to enjoy the calmness. And just enjoy the calmness of this mountaintop view.